Having songbirds from your region visit your garden is one of the many benefits of an outdoor living space. And anyone can do this simply by providing a habitat where you can observe and feed wild birds. Now, I always say that birds have simple needs: food, water, and shelter. Those are the big three. But I understand the National Wildlife Federation has a fourth one.
That's right, it's places to raise young. And we include that just to give folks the idea that animals, birds in particular, have different needs at different cycles of their life. So when they're young, they have different needs than when they're adults. And adults actually have special needs when it's time for them to get ready to have their babies. They need places to build their nests and extra food to feed the baby. So it's something else people can keep in mind.
So when you're thinking about putting trees or shrubs as places for birds to raise their young, shouldn't you use the native plants?
Absolutely. Native plants are just the plants that grow wild in any given area. And they're the plants that wildlife have co-evolved with. And a lot of them are actually very ornamental, so they can look really beautiful in your yard, and they can provide the food and the shelter and the places to raise young for birds.
And speaking of food, these plants are actually providing the seed, the berries, the nuts, and the nectar that these birds need, aren't they?
Exactly. That's the way Mother Nature provides food for wildlife, and that's what you can do in your own garden.
Okay, and what about the insects, which is another critical food source for the birds?
Absolutely, yeah. Native plants actually support lots more insects than most ornamental exotic plants do. And so if you have a good native-based garden, you're going to have a lot of insect activity, which is just going to attract more birds to your garden.
All right, so now we've talked a lot about all these natural foods. You can actually supplement all this very easily just by feeding birds wild bird food.
That's right, and not only is it a great way to sort of help the birds out, but it's a really good way to attract the birds in so that you can see and enjoy them.
Right, and the more diverse your plantings are and the more diverse your food supply is, the more birds you're actually going to attract to your yard. But I have one last question to ask you. What about water?
Yeah, water is the one thing that a lot of people are missing in their own yard, as far as a backyard habitat goes, but it's actually a lot simpler than a lot of people think. All you have to do is put out a bird bath. About 1 to 3 inches of water, that'll attract in all sorts of birds, particularly birds that you might not ever see in your yard, even those that might not even come to a feeder. So putting water in your yard is a great way to attract wildlife.
Right. I always say that when you put out water as that added feature in your yard, that is one of the easiest and best ways to attract birds that usually just don't show up in your yard. And almost every day you're going to see something new and exciting.
Absolutely.
So that's how easy it is to attract more birds to your backyard.